And good afternoon. I guess I shouldn't say that. It kind of dates and timestamps it. Well, here in Southern Ontario, it's afternoon and happy spring. And that's what we're going to talk all about today because believe it or not, spring has an impact on people with MS. It's the time of year that many people are diagnosed. May and June are the months where most people are diagnosed with MS. And it's a time, believe it or not, when on MRI, lesions are 2 to 3 times more active than any other time of the year. Actually, that goes from March to August, so through to the summer as well. So you'll see some of the stuff that we're talking about applies through the summer as well. So before we get into our discussion today, sorry, I've got the peanut gallery over here with a different device going. I just wanted to tell you that I've been writing and reading all morning, which is exactly why I look like this. I didn't even put the studio together, so you got a good look into my kitchen and into my living room. Yes, I live in a very small house. But I'm working on a 5-day challenge for us for this spring. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's called Get With the Program, because I hear that over and over and over again in the clinic. This is quite a busy time in the clinic, and people say, I just need to get with the program. So that's what I call the 5-day challenge. It's intended to motivate you and inspire you to get with it, to change some habits. And my biggest goal is to get everybody who's got MS to live an exceptional life with it. And I think the 5-day challenge is a great way to, you know, hit that spring refresh button. So I am just looking over here. I haven't set a date yet, but like I said, I've been working on it all day, and I've got a big calendar on the wall over there, and we are at the 26th of March. So April 1st. Done. Can we launch by April 1st? We can launch? Okay. So we're going to do it April 1st. So you'll see all kinds of stuff on the Facebook page, but just know that part of our spring existence is the spring challenge. So what is it about spring that is such a challenge to the bodies of people with MS? So first of all, we've got to remember that since time began, MS has been a health condition that is directly impacted by stress levels, constantly, ongoingly. So what's so stressful about spring that it would cause this health condition to aggravate so much? Well, first and foremost, we've got all kinds of weird and wonky things going on with the time. On one hand, Mother Nature is making the days longer so that our wonderful organic food can grow. And then we decide to mess around with it with daylight savings time, if you're in an area that has that. And I don't know about you, but that one lousy hour in the spring seems to mess me up for months. So we're going to talk a little bit about that some more. We've still got some pretty unpredictable weather. So even you see all the beautiful sunshine back there on the floor, even though you think, yeah, I got to get out there and do something with that sunshine, as soon as you stick your nose out, you realize that it's still -3, or I hate to say, I'm sure we've got some people in Saskatchewan right now watching going, -3. That would be a walk in the park, because I think you all got hit by a big ugly winter storm again. But anyway, we've still got cold, and then we've got warm, and we've got cold. And just as the body with MS doesn't like extreme hot or extreme cold, it doesn't like that vacillation between the two. Well, what else have we got going on? So we've also got allergens. So we've got more stuff floating around in the air. So believe it or not, the trees are already pollinating, and I know we've got some friends in the southern United States who are watching. I know down there you have different seasons and you've got stuff pollinating all the time, but we've actually got some trees pollinating and things up here in southern Ontario. So that's a challenge to the immune system. We've also got mold, right? We've got all this stuff that has been, hi Emily, that has been buried in snow, decaying all winter, and now the snow's gone, so we're exposed to the mold that's happening with that. So guess what that does? That also challenges the immune system. We've got that natural desire to get out and go and do things. And while it might be counterintuitive to think, well, what's wrong with getting out and going? We kind of do that without a filter, don't we? We get out there, we overextend ourselves, and guess what? It just acts as another stressor to the body. I often think of spring from a TCM perspective. TCM, of course, being traditional Chinese medicine, which is a huge platform in the naturopathic education. And in traditional Chinese medicine, spring is, of course, a time of dampness. It stands to reason, right? Melting snow, lots of rain, whatever. The interesting thing is that MS is also considered a damp condition. So we've got a damp condition, we've got a damp season, and that just leads to a natural aggravation. So we've also got damp foods that can aggravate that. So damp condition, damp season, damp foods, disaster. So I'm going to talk about a couple of those in just a second. So sorry, I'm spilling a great big cup of tea here. Sorry. Use the opportunity to take a sip. So what can we do? What's going on? What can we do to make spring less of an impact on the body with MS? So let's talk about melatonin for a second, because one of the theories is that our natural melatonin, so winter is a very dark season, and our melatonin production loves darkness. Melatonin, of course, is that hormone that promotes sleep as well as healthy immune function. So now that we move into more sunshine, more daylight, our natural melatonin function goes down. So one of the first things we can do is make sure that we are nurturing our melatonin levels. How do you do that? You make sure that you're sleeping in a dark room. So curtains, no lights, no TV, not, you know what, people have probably heard me say this before, but when I was still studying naturopathic medicine years and years and years ago, I had an old traditional Chinese medicine instructor who said, the bedroom is for two things, sleep and sex. He said, no electronic devices of any kind, and especially not a TV. So that really comes into play when you are trying to nurture your melatonin, your natural melatonin levels. Sleep, for sure, very important, and of course, it's important in immune function. Let's talk about activity, because let's face it, a lot of us use winter to kind of hibernate from the exercise that we might otherwise be doing. So when you're getting back into exercise, instead of going, oh, yay, sunshine, and running around the block or jumping on your bicycle and doing 5 miles, start with some really fundamental stuff. Start with some stretching exercises. Start with 20 minutes twice a day. You know, maybe do some stretching exercises in the morning, and then in the afternoon get on your bike and do a gentle ride. That's exactly what I do. I do exactly that, except for right now it's still on my stationary bike because it's too freaking cold out there for me, right? It's still time to be supplementing vitamin D. So the further you are away from the equator, the longer it takes for the sun to get in a position where your body can actually manufacture melatonin, vitamin D. So Emily, you'll be getting more vitamin D than I will up here, for sure, for sure, for sure. But the first thing with vitamin D is to always know what your vitamin D level is. So then you can be working to get it towards a more optimal, an optimal level. Oh, sorry, I'm such a nerd when it comes to Facebook Live. Hi, Kat. Hi, Katina. Hi, Lucy. Unfortunately, I'm in bed most of the time. I would die without my TV. Okay, Kat. So then have a nice big blanket you can throw over it at 9 o'clock every night so that your body goes, oh, it's sleep time, right? Okay.
How do you know what your vitamin D levels are, Chair?
How do I know what my vitamin D levels
it's
are?
important to know what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go to your doctor and you get them tested. So you're getting 125 hydroxy vitamin D tested. And you know what, in Ontario anyway, I don't know how it is in any of the other provinces or down in the States, but it has been deregulated. So the government doesn't pay for it anymore. So you will probably have to pay for it yourself. The last time I got my vitamin D level tested, I did request it, and my doctor went to tick the uninsured box. And I said, are you joking me? With all the evidence based on vitamin D and MS, you're not going to have, have it paid for. And she then reluctantly checked the other box. But there are also a number of finger prick tests you can do now for vitamin D. So I hope that gives you some ideas, Irene, there.
So Irene's asking if you can get vitamin D through a window. You have to be outside.
Oh.
Is it ultraviolet?
What a stumper.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great question, Irene. I don't know. Can you Google that? No. I will get back to you. That is an excellent, excellent question. Thanks for asking it. Managing seasonal allergies is super important because all of those, if you're somebody that suffers with, spring allergies or fall allergies or allergies of any kind, that is just activating, that's your immune system activated, right? So we don't want to do that. We want the immune system to be as balanced and as quiet, doing what it's supposed to be doing, but not overdoing it. So we might check that the Rocky Mountain MS Center in Colorado never paid. Thank you, Gail Brown. Owens. Oh, 3 names there, Gail. Sorry. So we want to make sure that we're managing allergies so we're not aggravating or activating the immune system. So how do you do that? I mean, the first thing to start managing allergies is a healthy gut. So all the stuff you hear me yak about all the time, diet first and foremost. Secondly, castor oil packs. Get castor oil packs on there. If you're not taking your probiotic, that's a first step into healing the gut. And then I think I might actually do a workshop at some point about healing the gut because it's so darn important for people with MS. It's important also to eat with the seasons. So, and this takes on, I know we're kind of all over the place here, and I love that, don't get me wrong, but so Emily, down in Mississippi, where it's warmer, you can get away with colder foods than I can get away with up here in Ontario. So eating with the seasons means when it's colder, you eat warmer food. When it's warmer, you can eat colder food because it's just an energetic balance. Now, so for example, I've got a big pot of jerk chicken sitting on the fridge, so it doesn't get any hotter than that in my world. And that's because it's still freezing outside, right? But I'm looking forward to big salads and all of that kind of stuff. And I, for one, I don't eat a lot of salads in the winter because it's cold food. Now I wanted to share with you, I wrote some stuff down here. Remember I said in Chinese medicine, there are certain foods that are considered damp foods. So here we go. And you know what? It's no surprise. They're all things that we shouldn't be eating anyway. The first one on the list is dairy, right? Milk, cheese, yogurt, ice cream, all of that kind of stuff. The second one is wheat. Go figure. Wheat and dairy on everybody's hit list. Pork and rich meat. Processed foods, sugar and sweetener, concentrated juices, especially orange and tomato, beer, bananas, which are a big no-no in TCM, in traditional Chinese medicine, and saturated fats. So remember saturated fats, we're crossing stories here, but you know, Dr. Roy Swank, the neurologist, did all the work in saturated fats in MS. So we've got that aspect of it, and for me, as a healthcare practitioner who deals with people with MS, that is animal-based saturated fats. I do not worry about plant-based saturated fats because they have a very different action in the body. But so Dr. Swank says they're not good. Traditional Chinese medicine says they're not good. Everybody says they're not good, right? Okay. So let's just review some of that, because I know some of you joined us a little bit late. Spring, what's happening? Weather swinging around. It's cold, it's hot, it's wet, it's, it's crazy. Pollens and other allergies are whipping around in the air. We've got daylight savings time. We've got more sunshine, which means we have less melatonin, and melatonin helps to regulate sleep and the immune system. We're anxious to get outside, and we oftentimes overdo it. And what did we say? Yeah, managing the seasonal allergies and eating with the seasons. So I hope that's been helpful today. We don't want spring to be our foe. We want to embrace spring, and we want spring to be our friend. So ease yourself gently into spring, okay? Understand you need darkness to sleep. Understand you need to gently get into exercise. And I'm sorry, who was it that said they were Kat? You were saying you're in bed. You can even exercise in bed. I have a wonderful patient who I do house calls with, and she is completely immobilized in bed, can't even move her head, but as enthusiastic as anybody. So what I do is I put a squishy ball in her hand, and I get her to do eye exercises. Even if you're just thinking about your toes and lifting your toes up. Remember, the body receives the message whether it's real or perceived. So if you can't physically move, then close your eyes and visualize yourself going through a routine, whether that's a simple exercise thing or whether that's riding a bike or swimming, because the body gets the stimulus and the body responds to that stimulus. About to ask about dairy after MS. I became very lactose intolerant. You know what, Gail? It's probably way more than lactose intolerance, because dairy has a number of things going against it. The protein casein is one of the #1 allergens for our bodies in general. It also, by the way, blocks the vitamin D receptors. So if you're eating dairy, it takes up space on the vitamin D receptors, and the vitamin D can't get into the body. So sometimes we think that our bodies become less tolerant or more intolerant after we start eating something. But I use a bucket of muddy water analogy. When you've always been eating all kinds of stuff, it's like throwing handfuls of mud into muddy water. When you change your diet and you start to clean things up, that same dairy is like throwing mud into a bucket of clean water. You sure notice it, right? So hi, Lindsay. I'm getting ready to wrap up here. Anyway, I've got a great blog post that I've put together too. So I'm going to put all of this out as soon as I can get around to it. But once again, I wish you all a wonderful spring.
When's your next Facebook Live, Terry?
When's my next Facebook Live? Listen to this meathead, eh? My next Facebook Live will be next Monday. All right. I tried to do Tuesdays, and it didn't quite work out the way I thought it would. So next.
You don't have a topic yet, do you?
No, I don't have a topic yet.
What the topic's going to be?
What's the topic going to be? You guys tell me. Lucy, Emily, Kat, Katina, Irene, Gail, Lindsay, tell me what you want to hear about it. And in the meantime, like I said, I'm going to post this. And I can't. And I'm going to wish you a wonderful week and a wonderful spring. And remember, I'm going to be putting out my information about the spring challenge, the Get With the program. And I look forward to seeing you all on that too. Okay? Yep, you'll have to watch the replay. Dental issues. Okay, Gail, that's a really good one too. I'll make that note for sure. Me too. Oh, hi, Kelly. You missed me too. No worries. It looks like we've had a really good connection, and I live out here in the country, and sometimes that just doesn't work all the time, but we've had a good connection, so I'm pretty confident that the replay is going to be swell. Okay, so to all of you, I don't know if it's sunny where you are, but it's lovely and sunny, and I'm going to put my scarf on right now and head outside and do some of that, overindulging in exercise. Have a great week. Bye-bye.